In 1975, a small sitcom about a tough classroom in Brooklyn became one of the biggest television surprises in America. Welcome Back, Kotter turned unknown actors into stars almost overnight and helped launch the career of John Travolta. But behind the laughter, the cast faced fame, personal struggles, shocking losses, and lives that changed in ways viewers never expected. More than 5 decades later, some stars disappeared, some reinvented themselves, and others left unforgettable legacies. So, where are the cast members now in 2026? In the mid-1970s, American television was changing fast. Networks were searching for shows that could attract younger viewers while still keeping families entertained. Sitcoms were everywhere, but many of them followed safe and familiar formulas. Producers wanted something fresh, something that felt real. Then a new idea quietly appeared. The show was called Welcome Back, Kotter. At first, very few people expected it to become a major success. The series focused on a classroom in Brooklyn filled with underachieving students known as the Sweathogs. Their teacher, Gabe Kotter, had once been one of them. Now he returned to help students who reminded him of his younger self. The idea came from comedian Gabe Kaplan. Before entering television, Kaplan had built his comedy routines around stories from his own school days in Brooklyn. His memories of struggling students, funny classroom moments, and tough teachers became the heart of the sitcom. The network liked the concept because it felt different from other shows at the time. Instead of perfect families living in quiet suburbs, this story focused on loud teenagers from working-class neighborhoods. The humor felt natural. The students talked like real kids. The classroom felt chaotic and alive. As cameras rolled during early production, the cast was still mostly unknown. Kaplan played Gabe Kotter himself. Beside him stood a group of young actors hoping for their big break. Among them were John Travolta, Ron Palillo, Robert Hedges, and Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. None of them knew their lives were about to change forever. During filming, the chemistry between the cast members became impossible to ignore. The actors joked together naturally. Their energy felt spontaneous. Even behind the scenes, the group acted like close friends. Producers quickly realized they had discovered something special. Each character brought a unique personality to the classroom. There was Arnold Orhack, played by Ron Palillo, with his strange laugh and endless hand-raising. There was Juan Epstein, played by Robert Hedges, who mixed humor with street-smart confidence. Lawrence Hilton Jacobs brought calm coolness to Freddie Boom Boom, Washington. And then there was Vinnie Barbarino. Played by John Travolta, Barbarino quickly became a fan favorite. Travolta had charm that cameras seemed to love instantly. His smile, his voice, and his relaxed confidence made audiences pay attention every time he appeared on screen. Even during the first episodes, producers noticed how strongly viewers reacted to him. But at the time, nobody could predict just how huge he would become. When the show premiered in 1975, expectations were modest. Network executives hoped the sitcom might survive a season or two. Instead, ratings exploded. Across America, audiences connected with the Sweathogs almost immediately. Teenagers saw themselves in the rebellious students. Adults enjoyed the humor and warmth underneath the chaos. Families gathered around televisions every week to watch the classroom battles unfold. Soon, the show became one of the hottest programs on television. As the audience watched, catchphrases from the sitcom spread everywhere. Students repeated lines from the show in school hallways. Kids copied the cast's hairstyles and clothing. Fans memorized jokes and favorite scenes. Television magazines suddenly featured the actors on their covers. The sitcom had become a cultural phenomenon. Meanwhile, life behind the scenes changed just as quickly. The young cast members suddenly found themselves surrounded by attention. Fans waited outside studios. Reporters asked for interviews. Public appearances drew screaming crowds. For actors who had struggled to find work only months earlier, the sudden fame felt overwhelming. Ron Palillo later spoke about how strange it felt to become recognizable overnight. One day, he was a working actor trying to survive in Hollywood. The next day, strangers shouted, "Orhack," whenever he walked down the street. For some cast members, the attention was exciting. For others, it became difficult. The pressure to stay funny and successful grew stronger with every episode. Long filming schedules became normal. Interviews and promotional events filled their free time. The actors were still young, but millions of people now expected them to entertain America every week. At the center of it all stood Gabe Kaplan. Kaplan not only starred in the sitcom, but also helped shape its direction creatively. He wanted the show to stay grounded in real emotions beneath the comedy. That balance became one reason audiences stayed loyal to the series. The classroom may have been full of jokes, but viewers also saw students struggling to find purpose, respect, and confidence. That emotional honesty helped separate the sitcom from many others of the era. Soon, Welcome Back, Kotter became more than just another television comedy. It became part of 1970s pop culture. But while the entire cast was becoming famous, one actor was rising faster than anyone else. Studio executives noticed it. Fans noticed it. Hollywood noticed it. And before long, that growing fame would begin changing everything behind the scenes. Cliffhanger. One cast member was about to become far bigger than the show itself, and it would change everything behind the scenes. By the time Welcome Back, Kotter became a national hit. One face had already started standing out from the rest. Week after week, audiences waited for Vinnie Barbarino to appear on screen. His expressions, quick jokes, and smooth confidence made viewers laugh instantly. The actor behind the character was John Travolta. At the beginning of the series, Travolta was just another young performer trying to build a career in Hollywood. Born in New Jersey in 1954, he had grown up in a creative family that loved music and acting. As a teenager, he became interested in performing and eventually left school to chase opportunities in entertainment. Before joining Welcome Back, Kotter, Travolta had already appeared in small television roles and stage productions. But nothing had truly made him famous. Like many young actors in Los Angeles during the 1970s, he spent years auditioning and hoping for the right role. Then Barbarino arrived. The character was loud, charming, and unpredictable. Travolta gave him a natural energy that immediately connected with audiences. Every movement seemed effortless. Even simple lines became memorable because of his delivery. Very quickly, teenage viewers across America became obsessed. Girls filled magazines with letters asking about Travolta. Fan clubs appeared everywhere. His posters covered bedroom walls. At public appearances, crowds screamed so loudly that security often struggled to control them. The rise happened almost overnight. Television producers noticed that ratings often climbed whenever Travolta's character received more screen time. The network leaned into his popularity, placing him heavily in promotions and interviews. While the sitcom was built around the entire Sweathogs group, Travolta was becoming the breakout star. As the audience watched him on television each week, Hollywood executives started paying close attention. Soon, movie offers began arriving. At first, Travolta balanced both worlds carefully. During the day, he filmed episodes of Welcome Back, Kotter. At the same time, he started building a movie career outside the sitcom. This was not easy. Television schedules were demanding, and the cast already spent long hours working together. But Travolta knew opportunities like this did not come often. In 1976, he appeared in the horror film Carrie, based on the novel by Stephen King. Though it was not the leading role, the movie helped introduce Travolta to film audiences. However, what happened next changed everything. In 1977, Travolta starred in Saturday Night Fever. The movie became a worldwide sensation. Audiences were stunned by his performance as Tony Manero, a young man escaping everyday struggles through dance and nightlife in Brooklyn. Suddenly, Travolta was no longer just a television actor. He became one of the biggest stars on the planet. The film earned massive box office success and turned Travolta into a cultural icon of the late 1970s. His white suit, disco dancing, and confident style became instantly recognizable around the world. Then came another hit. In 1978, Travolta starred alongside Olivia Newton-John in Grease. The musical exploded in popularity and became one of the most successful movie musicals ever made. Now the situation behind the scenes at Welcome Back, Kotter, was becoming complicated. Travolta's movie career demanded more time. Film schedules clashed with television production. Sometimes his appearances on the sitcom became shorter or less frequent. Writers had to adjust storylines around his growing absence. The cast could feel the shift happening. While the other actors remained closely tied to the sitcom, Travolta was entering an entirely different level of fame. Reporters followed him everywhere. Movie studios fought to sign him. Fans treated him like a global superstar. For some cast members, it created mixed emotions. They were proud of their friend's success. After all, the show had given all of them opportunities. But at the same time, the growing focus on Travolta slowly changed the balance of the series. Behind the cameras, producers faced difficult decisions. They knew audiences loved Barbarino, but they also understood the sitcom needed the full cast chemistry that made it special in the first place. As the seasons continued, the pressure grew stronger. Travolta himself seemed pulled between two worlds. Television had made him famous, but movies offered something even bigger. During interviews, he spoke respectfully about the sitcom that launched his career, yet his future was clearly moving toward Hollywood films. Meanwhile, the rest of the cast tried to adjust to the changing reality. Some worried about what would happen if Travolta eventually left completely. Others focused on keeping the energy of the sitcom alive. Fans could sense the changes too. The atmosphere that once felt simple and carefree was becoming more uncertain. Still, Travolta's rise was impossible to stop. Throughout the late 1970s, he became one of the highest-paid and most recognizable actors in entertainment. His success seemed unstoppable. But fame at that level often comes with pressure, exhaustion, and personal sacrifice. And in the years ahead, Travolta's journey would become far more complicated than anyone expected. While he reached incredible heights, the rest of the cast faced battles hidden far away from the spotlight. Cliffhanger. While one star was rising higher than ever, the rest of the cast faced battles that viewers never saw on television. As Welcome Back, Kotter continued through the late 1970s, the cast members discovered something many young actors learned too late. Fame could arrive quickly, but keeping a career alive was much harder. For a while, everything seemed exciting. The actors attended television events, gave interviews, and traveled to meet fans across the country. Their faces appeared in magazines and newspapers almost every week. The Sweathogs had become television icons. But behind the laughter and growing popularity, pressure slowly began building. Many of the cast members were still very young. None of them fully understood how deeply one successful role could shape the rest of their careers. Hollywood often celebrated actors when a show was popular. But once the spotlight moved away, the industry could become cold very quickly. One of the first actors to feel this struggle was Ron Palillo. Palillo played Arnold Orhack, the nervous student with the unforgettable laugh and raised hand. Audiences loved him instantly. His strange voice and wild energy made him one of the funniest characters on television. However, success brought an unexpected problem. People no longer saw Ron Palillo as an actor. To millions of viewers, he simply was Orhack. Wherever he went, strangers shouted catchphrases at him. Fans expected him to behave exactly like the character from television. Casting directors also struggled to imagine him in serious or different roles. Even after the sitcom slowed down, Palillo found it difficult to escape the image that had made him famous. The situation became emotionally exhausting. Although he continued acting in theater and television projects, the level of fame he experienced during Welcome Back, Kotter never truly returned. Still, Palillo remained deeply connected to fans who loved the show for decades afterward. Another cast member facing similar struggles was Robert Hedges. Hedges played Juan Epstein, the sarcastic and street-smart sweathog known for his humor and unforgettable introductions in class. Audiences admired the confidence he brought to the role. But after the sitcom ended, Hedges also faced the challenge of typecasting. Like several actors from the series, he discovered that Hollywood often remembered television characters longer than the actors themselves. Work became less steady. Hedges appeared in other television shows and stage productions over the years, but life after the sitcom was not always easy. Financial pressure and personal struggles became part of his journey. At times, He stepped away from acting completely before returning again later. Meanwhile, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs experienced a different path. Known for playing Freddie Boom Boom, Washington, Hilton Jacobs managed to continue working steadily in entertainment after the sitcom ended. He appeared in films, television series, and music projects throughout the following decades. Still, even for him, the shadow of Welcome Back, Kotter never disappeared completely. Fans continued identifying him with the role that first made him famous. Interviews often returned to memories of the Sweathogs and the powerful connection audiences still felt toward the series. At the same time, the entertainment industry itself was changing. Television trends shifted rapidly during the late 1970s and early 1980s. New sitcoms arrived. Audiences moved on to different stars and stories. The enormous popularity that once surrounded Welcome Back, Kotter slowly faded. For the cast members, this transition could feel painful. Only a few years earlier, crowds had surrounded them everywhere they went. Suddenly, the attention became smaller. Phone calls from studios slowed down. The pressure of staying relevant became very real. Even Gabe Kaplan faced challenges after the series ended. Kaplan had helped create one of television's most successful sitcoms of the decade. Yet once the show was over, he found himself moving back towards stand-up comedy and other projects rather than remaining a major television star. The reality of Hollywood was becoming clear for everyone involved. Success could disappear almost as fast as it arrived. Still, many cast members refused to give up. Some turned toward theater. Others taught acting or performed at fan conventions. Reunions with longtime viewers reminded them that the sitcoms still mattered deeply to millions of people. Fans continued watching reruns and introducing the show to younger generations. As the audience watched old clips years later, the chemistry between the actors still felt genuine. The laughter still worked. The friendships still felt real. That lasting connection became one of the greatest gifts the show left behind. But outside the spotlight, life continued moving forward. Families grew older. Health problems appeared. Personal hardships became more serious with time. And for some beloved members of the cast, tragedy was waiting just around the corner. Cliffhanger. But for some beloved stars, the hardest chapters of their lives were still waiting ahead. As the years passed, the bright energy surrounding Welcome Back, Kotter slowly became part of television history. New generations discovered the sitcom through reruns, while longtime fans remembered the Sweathogs as symbols of a very different era in America. But behind those memories, time was beginning to take a painful toll on the cast. The actors who once filled television screens with laughter were now facing the same struggles that come with life itself. Health problems, personal losses, and the pressures of aging became impossible to avoid. For fans who had grown up watching the series, the passing of beloved cast members felt deeply emotional. One of the hardest losses came in 2012 with the death of Robert Hedges. Hedges had brought one Epstein to life with unforgettable humor and charisma. His classroom introductions became legendary among fans of the sitcom. Even decades after the show ended, audiences still repeated his lines and remembered his sharp comedic timing. But away from the cameras, Hedges faced personal struggles throughout his life. Friends and former co-stars often described him as talented and warm-hearted, yet also deeply affected by the ups and downs of the entertainment industry. When news of his death spread, fans across America reacted with sadness. For many people, it felt like losing a piece of their childhood. Former cast members shared emotional tributes and memories of the years they spent working together. The bond formed during the making of the sitcom had never completely disappeared. Then another heartbreaking loss arrived. In 2012, only months after Hedges passed away, Ron Palillo also died unexpectedly. For millions of viewers, Palillo had been the unforgettable Arnold Orhack. His raised hand, nervous excitement, and unique laugh became some of the most iconic moments in 1970s television comedy. As clips from